Hi, welcome, welcome. We're going to wait for a couple of more people to join us. Then we'll start sharing our top 10. So we'll just let people get on and join us. So have your note, well, I don't know how you take notes, but get ready to have a good time. My husband Jeff is joining me, even though he wants to watch the NBA game in the bubble. So I'm appreciative of him coming on to do this live stream with me tonight. So you say hi. Let you do this one. Okay. So as you know, we're going to just touch a little bit on doing business in Africa tonight. And as you know, Africa has 54 countries. And so that's 54 markets. And that's a lot of opportunity. And this is based on our travel experience. This is based on what we have encountered along the way during our travel. So, as soon as we get a few more, we're going to get with it. So I know we have 10 businesses that we're going to talk about, but Jeff says that he also has some bonus that he will mention. And we'll have a follow up to this presentation um, on, doing a deeper dive into the African businesses. So, yeah, do you want to start off, or you want me to give the list and then how do you want to do it?
I'll start off, do the first three
Okay,
or four or however many.
okay,
So anyway, as Yolanda said, Africa has 54 countries, but the countries, it's kind of the way you look at it is it can be kind of like East, West, North, South Africa,
right.
and they're kind of in regions. So you'll see similarity in regions.
Hmm.
You'll see similarity in the way people live and products and designs in East Africa, overlap in Southern Africa, including South Africa, and you'll see a lot of similarities in West Africa and a little bit in Northern Africa. So anyway, with that being said, with our travels, these are just some things we agreed upon, and there's a whole bunch more businesses. And matter of fact, we some of the ones that we're talking about, we actually are involved in ourselves, and we'll discuss that a little bit. But first, let's look at one of the businesses that I've observed that a lot of people do, but they could do better. And it's the internet cafe.
Mm,
The internet it can be very spotty when you go to Africa.
mm, yes.
It can be spotty and it can actually be very convenient where you can buy minutes and you can buy different devices and things like that that you don't see in the United States. Actually, a lot of things are cheaper. But like when you want something consistent and powerful, the internet cafes are really good. But also, what they need is like tech training, and they need like little business centers so that people can conduct their business, sort of like the co-op business places we have here. So what they could use is, and it's not very expensive to start, like an internet cafe that also has some training, tech training, not necessarily computer training, but overall technology training with sort of a business center there where you can have co-op business centers where you can entertain clients and you can
Right.
have your temporary hourly paid office spaces, things like that. I think there's a huge opportunity for something like that because it's a developing economy. A lot of economies, a lot of young people are developing businesses, but they don't have places to conduct their business.
Yes.
So I think that's a very good opportunity there. Then there's real estate, and now I'm gonna end some of this stuff is gonna overlap. Then there's real estate. Like there's a lot of real estate developments there. You go to different countries, you see a lot of construction, real estate development, but the real estate is still cheap. And there's a lot of things you can do with the real estate. You can, some people buy a home, but it's big enough where they do Airbnb or they They buy homes. If you look at some of the homes are have multiple rooms, and they have maybe 3, 4 restrooms, which is very, very conducive for having your home and having running a business like a bed and breakfast, Airbnb, that sort of thing, even a small hotel. Go ahead.
Want to explain cheap or affordable, because some may not know. We can give a roundabout of like what we see when we're looking.
A lot of the property
Mhm.
what we've looked at has been actually more beachfront property, and we've seen prices like land only
Right, the land.
between say $8,000 and $12,000, and then when you start getting inline, some of the property that is completely undeveloped, you start to get really, really, really cheap. I'm saying under $5,000. I've seen.
Now we're talking in Accra, Ghana, because that's where we looked most recently. And
Well, not Accra, but you're talking about Ghana in general,
yes,
not just Accra is the
right.
most expensive part of
Yes.
Ghana.
Well, yeah, thank you, correct.
Right.
Ghana. Because yes, because I'm thinking that Accra, it's very expensive. So yeah, in my last video, that's what I talked about, is how you can get affordable. And when you leave out of Accra, there's some affordable patches within Accra, but you really have to look, and you have to get, even to rent property, you have to get a real estate agent. Um, yeah, yeah, to find that. So
Now, one of the benefits of real estate there is you don't have the same zoning rules, so you can get your property and have products growing on it. You can get your property, have your bar and grill on it. You can get your property, have your art center on it.
right.
You can get your property and like have a little hotel on it. So there's a lot of things because of the wide open area in terms of zoning. You can do a whole bunch of great things with your property. And one of the things, I'll get to, it's a real estate hack that I'll talk about later. But anyway, the other thing is, like, we've talked about Airbnb, but we've stayed at Airbnb in Africa, not in Ghana, but it was in Kenya, and we've stayed at one in Botswana,
Mhm.
and we've looked at some in multiple countries. So that's another opportunity too. You get property very inexpensive, and the Airbnb usually are renting to tourists who are used to paying more money. And let me give you an example, and this was my hack that I'm talking about. If you wanted to try it out, you could actually do that. I'm actually thinking about doing it myself, but you can actually get a monthly rental in one of the African countries. Nice property,
Mhm.
and it'll cost you less than $200 a month. If you get that, and I'm just giving a hypothetical,
Mhm.
if you get that, lock it up for a year for about $2,000, you can actually Airbnb that, and tourists will come and they will pay nightly. If you book that place 4 or 5, I'm saying you pay a year rental.
Mhm.
If you book that place 4 or 5 nights out of the month, you will have paid for that in a couple of months, and it'll be just profit.
May I explain what that looks
Okay.
like when you were talking about the rental? So that's a good idea to do that, because how rents are paid in Ghana is that they are paid yearly. You pay in advance. So say if we see a property that's um, $160, $200, we're going to pay for the full year. So you'll end up paying about $2,000 for that rental. So that's why what Jeff is saying is it's a good idea.
Right. And generally, when you Airbnb in that part of the world, you're paying between $30 and $60 a night. So if you do $60 a night, because if it's a nice place, $60 a night is nothing
Right.
for a 3, 4 bedroom place with 2, 3 baths. Bring a family. I mean, you can charge more than that, but I'm just saying, Airbnb usually run between $30 and $60 average, and then you'll see places that are more nicer places. So if you were lucky enough to get $100 a night, which is very reasonable for a family, and if you book that place 5 nights a month, in what, 4 months, it's paid for, and then the rest of it is just pure profit. But you would actually, if you're in the right area, you will book it more than 5 nights a month. But I'm just giving you a very low ball. But that's sort of a hack if you just wanted to try it out. Anyway, then we get to tourism. You want to take tourism?
Well, tourism is kind of a really, really hot thing right now. Especially, I'm noticing in Ghana. I talk about Ghana so much because we've traveled there quite a bit. And just since 2010, I noticed that there are different businesses that have developed, businesses that are catering to, say, African Americans and other people, whereas you're coming in and you're catering more to those people. You're set up and you're able to do the tours and you're able to make money that way with tourism. And I don't know if you wanted to say more about it, but that's basically.
Yes, and one of the things, and we're talking, I'm using the word hack. A tourism hack also is just to partner with a major company. Say if you
Mhm.
wanted to, if you thought tourism was something you were interested in, one of the first things you want to do is take a tour. And
True.
then after that, then you can partner with the tourist agency because they pay commission on
Hmm.
people who bring people to them. Also,
Hmm.
the
True.
exact places that a tourist agency will take you to, you can go to those places yourself, which we've done,
Hmm.
and strike a deal with them. They'll strike a deal with you if you bring guests there, if you bring tourists there. They'll give you
Free
free
board, free
accommodations.
meal.
You get split some of the pot, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So those things are, and we haven't taken full advantage of it, but we do know about it, and we can certainly, if you ask, we can direct you to. So there's straight tourism, then there's tourism hacks where you don't have to outlay all of the money in the marketing and stuff like that. That you can go to the same places. And I'll give you one more real quick hint.
Yeah.
If you can Google a tour, and the tour could cost you say $10,000.
Right.
If you
That's a
decide on
real.
your own and go to that same country,
Hmm.
you can find the exact same hotels, people, and everything
Hmm.
that the tour company is using a lot cheaper. You can get it for about, I would say, about 20% of that cost.
That's right.
So
We've done that.
that's another tour
Yeah,
hack.
we've done
And
that.
then, so the next thing is education training.
So there's lots of opportunity for education training. Okay, and that looks like not only. Well, I know for me personally, I've done a couple of teacher trainings in Uganda, and that just looks like you going in doing just that. If you are a teacher, you're able to do that. Or if you have, and not necessarily all the time you have to be a teacher, because if you have some great I- idea and you're able to share that and it is building that particular community up, the people will be accepting. But it just depends on you. International schools are also profitable. They're needed very much because there are a lot of people who are relocating to Ghana, and you have people from all around the globe who are coming with their families. So, international schools are usually places where people of diplomats, business people send their children. And so, if you're able to establish that type of school and offer great educational experience, it can also be very, very lucrative if you're able to put that up. Um,
And one thing about international schools, they have a reputation for having the highest quality education. That is why the diplomats and
true.
so forth.
Send their
And
kids.
so, and it's not because diplomats and so forth go to it, doesn't mean that it's out of the reach of the average educator from the United States, because usually we go there with skills and training. And I'll give you an example. We probably throw away more educational training and materials and stuff
True.
than many of those
True.
countries will ever have in
In
their
their
lifetime.
lifetime. True.
So we have uh, the skills and abilities and training to actually go there and do that. It just takes the will to do it. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that it's going to be different in terms of pay scale than here in the United States, but you can still do well if you manage it right. Have maybe more than one school, that sort of thing.
Right. But they can be quite lucrative if you if you have that skill set and that training, that background to open your own school. It they are will be quite lucrative. I don't know that I'm fully interested in that, but yeah. So the next one on the list is manufacturing. Now I know you're going to chime in on this one. Right now, we're kind of doing this with our business. We're doing a lot of design and making different products that we're selling here in the US. And as a matter of fact, you can go to our either CAJ Africa on Amazon, and I have it in the description box. But yeah, check some of that out because the products that we're making, we're partnering with local artisans and so forth, and we're making those products and we're bringing them and we're having them made there and we're bringing them here and we're selling and it's quite good. So yeah, did you want to add
Yeah,
anything?
one of the big things about manufacturing uh, is on the continent of Africa, there's over 1 billion people. Now, of course, we know there's 54 countries, but there's regional similarities. And if you don't necessarily have to try to um, put your business in 54 countries. If
Right.
you hit one country and do well, it spreads out to a region, which could be maybe five, six, seven, eight, maybe even more countries. And then once you have that region taken care of, then you can move it to another region. So, but the point I'm making about manufacturing is there is a labor force there that is young. They're getting more educated and they work really, really hard. So what China was about 20, 25 years ago is what
Mhm.
Africa is now.
True.
And China, of course, is a country, Africa is a continent.
Yes.
But what I'm pointing out is that China, with over 1 billion people, were basically rice paddies and huts and that sort of thing. And then when they hit the manufacturing, they jumped on it like crazy. So they battle between the United States first and second biggest economies in the world.
Right.
And I see the similar thing happen with Africa. That's why so many people are over there. Manufacturing is going to be one of their keys because they have the labor force, they have the resources,
Yes.
they have the space. So if you have any kind of idea of what you want manufactured, then it behooves you to go and look into the different countries in Africa and see what you can set up, how you can set it up. We know that manufacturing is a big upfront cost, but you just start simple, you start little,
Mhm.
and then you
That's
just
what we
grow from
did.
there.
Small. So it's say.
Okay.
And the agribusiness, that one, yes.
Yeah, agribusiness
Very
is
well.
basically what it says. It's just all of the natural resources
Mhm.
and taking advantage of the part of the world where you're always going to have green, lush greenery. Stuff is always going to grow all year round. I mean, it's so many crops and things you can do
Mhm.
with agri. I mean, you name cocoa, shea butters come from there. I
Mhm.
mean, you can do things simple as
Very
mushrooms and
good.
strawberries. I mean, just whatever you can imagine, and that ties into real estate. Whereas when we talked about zoning rules, you can have your property and have your nice
Little farm.
little small agribusiness right back there where you manufacture something just your own specific product. You control it from the beginning to the end. So, and then the next thing is
Waste.
you want to say more
Yeah.
about agribusiness? I mean, it's a whole
No.
bunch of, it's actually a whole bunch to say
Yeah.
about
We
agribusiness,
just thought we
but
were gonna give a taste, just a
right,
little taste, and then come back later for a deeper dive into it. But yes, waste management. Um, That one, we kind of noticed that there's a need in quite a few of the countries. Waste management, including recycling, um, that is needed. That business is needed. I don't know so much about it, but I know that that business, waste management, is needed. And if you know how to go in and set that up, you're going to make lots of money.
right. And the
Yeah.
waste management, the way people think of it is usually the purview of the government. Um, but what we have seen in terms of waste management, part of waste management they've been doing in many of the African countries is recycling and recycling through creating a new product. So there's there's multiple companies with that are recycling products, but you can go do the same thing and take recycled goods and make something else very good out of it. Like we went and bought some sandals, and what they did was recycled tires, like old tires that people usually just throw, and they just recycle those tread, and the tread became the sole of the sandal, and very, very good sandals.
We don't have them anymore.
Right.
They did well.
So recycling and waste management is very important, and if you can come up with solutions for that, I think you'll do well. And then we get to one of the things that we do that we started is import export.
Yes.
So you want to talk
A little bit, and then you're gonna piggyback. So yeah, import export. You you have to really say know the market, and what we know so far, or what we notice, is that in a lot of the African countries, there is a rising middle class, and they do like, say, American products. They like products that are made in other parts of the world. And so, if you're really in tune to that, you're able to, say, export those goods to the consumers who are there to buy it. Now, we do a lot of import from Africa with, like I was saying, the different products that we have made there, and with different products that we bring from Africa and we sell here because, as you know, Africa is rich with just so many resources, and so it's just an opportunity every time we go that we're able to bring back new products, new ideas, new collaboration, and turn that into um, profit sales. So I don't know if I was general, but you may want to tap
right. I mean, it's the same
more
thing.
into it.
One of the things about importing, you can import, pretty much anything you want that from Africa. Of course, the bottleneck with importing, exporting is the cost of getting it back and forth. You
Expensive.
it's expensive in small quantities. If you want to do containers, because there are friends that we know that do containers of product, and
Right.
many of them are like artifacts, African, what they call curios, and what's the other word? Curios,
Those wood, what was
handicrafts. That's
yeah,
that they like
handicrafts.
to say handicrafts.
Hmm.
Curios, handicrafts. And different things like that, wood carvings, all that sort of stuff. I mean, and so they sell it at different markets and festivals and things like. Matter of fact, one friend of mine supply the zoos, like the different zoos, supply them with different products from Africa. That when
Right.
they go into the curio shop to buy products, they supply them.
Right.
So anyway, that's part of the, and it's a lot of. And one of the things about exporting to Africa, the perception of goods that come from America is very high. It's still high now. Here in America, we know it's different, but the
Sometimes.
perception is that it's a higher quality, which generally it is,
Right.
but that's the
So it's
perception.
okay.
So anyway, the next one is farming,
Yeah.
and now I know you don't want to go over there and be a farmer, and
It's
but we're
not
talking
that.
about business you can start that's simple. You're not going to farm any cows. Now, we're not talking about going there and being a cattle rancher or getting a bunch of horses or anything like that.
Right. Right.
But there is micro farming that you can start small.
Right.
And there's a friend who I remember he talked to me. He was trying to get me to help him get chicken feed over there because he has a little chicken farm. What does he do with a chicken farm? He has chicken farm, chicken lays eggs. He supplies some of the markets with the eggs. And he doesn't need a lot of space to do that. And then, of course, what do you do with the chicken? You know what we do with the chicken. And then there's fish farming. And I've seen people, they start off with just a little, about the size of a bathtub pool, start doing their fish farming. Then they grow into a bigger pool. Then it gets bigger.
Right.
So fish farming. So these things are start small. Then there's snail farming. Yes, I've had some snail when I'm in
Yeah, they're
Africa.
delicious.
They like
Yeah.
snail there,
They're good.
and snail farming is super easy.
Mhm.
So these are things that you can buy into by do it with someone else. It can fit in with the real estate, And then it goes for on and on and on and on from there. But I'm just mentioning a few that is really easy to start, easy to contain.
Right.
So that's basically the 10 we kind of agreed upon.
Mm.
But there's a whole bunch more. Now, what there are opportunity. I mean, I got a list here. Look,
It's a long.
I
It's
got
a
a
really
long
long
list, and I'm
list.
not going to read off this whole list. But there are some other exports we've done that we didn't mention, like
Right.
coffee exports. Like
Right.
we've exported some stuff from Uganda and
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. And now, and of course, the challenge when you're not doing like mass quantities, the challenge is the shipping, the cost of shipping. The
Right.
cost is so much in small quantities that it eats up whatever profit you think you're going to make. And we already talked about our import export business. Part of the imports is we do fashion and we do tailoring and design. We have these things made, and we're trying to expand on that, just like everybody else. Um, One of the other things is I want to set up there is a calling center. You know how you always call someone and someone from India answers the phone?
Mm.
You can do that in Africa because all the calls are with WhatsApp. You get your number, WhatsApp number, it's
And
free.
especially the English speaking um, countries.
Right.
This is good to set up.
And it's a whole bunch more stuff. I mean,
Right.
we'll talk about more on the next one. We've kind of went over time a little bit, but
Yeah.
we'll talk more about different regions and different things. And we are in the process of making these moves, and they're not. We're not trying to act like they're easy,
No, no.
but they're simple. I mean, these are all the
They're
things that we
doable.
mention are simple, and
Mhm.
almost everything that we mention, actually everything we mention, we know people from the United States
Who are
who are
doing it.
doing it now,
Right.
and they're not that bright. So it's not. I'm not. They're not. You know, I'm not trying to say anything bad about them, but
Yikes. I hope you're
they're
not a customer.
they're. It's not like these are geniuses
Oh,
and went
you're
over there and did stuff.
welcome. You're welcome. What about connections? What do you mean connections, Jay Lovett? Different connections of people you wish to connect with or questions you have for us? I'm not quite sure. What about connections? If you can just explain. But yeah, like Jeff is saying, we do know quite a few people that are doing these particular businesses where they've created, um, great. They saw a great opportunity and they jumped on it.
Right, and this and we know that the money there is going to be different from here, but the way you scale with many of those opportunities is, like I said,
Mhm.
you start to cover a region.
Right.
You start in one country, you build out the success, and it could be very fast build out too. And then once you do that, you move it around the country,
Ah,
and then you move to
okay,
another
okay.
region.
So the question is, when trying to start a business, how do you connect? I'm planning to visit Ghana in December. Okay, so one way there is, I don't know if you're in the US or not. I don't think it matters. I know one good way is through the African American Association in Ghana.
Right.
They support with a lot of information about that, about business. And it just depends on what type of business. If we know, we'll point you in the right direction. If you say like what your interests are, you can DM uh, me at Instagram or Facebook, African Travel and More, and then we can reach out to you more and point you in the direction more so of what you're asking. Okay, that's another way to do it. As a matter of fact, we may bump into you if we can get out of here. It's looking like it's going to be December for us. We wanted to go, as you may or may not know, in June of this year, but with the pandemic, well, everyone got canceled. But we're looking at that too. So just DM me, and we'll get back to you. Okay, if we know
And one
that.
and one last thing, well, maybe not the last thing, but one thing I want to add is
You trying to get to the game?
you've heard about the free land.
Thank you,
and
Jay Love it.
and the connection to the free land and the people from the diaspora is that they really they give them free land. That's true, but they really do want you to bring these ideas to the continent to help them to grow. So if you have business ideas and plans and any kind of resources, they want that. They want you to build a business. They want you to build an internet cafe. They want you to do an
Oh yes,
educational.
it's a,
They
they
want you to
want
do
it.
manufacturing,
Right.
Airbnb.
It's
They
it's
want you to do. That's why they're
wanted.
giving you the free land. You know, there's a catch to it. You know, it's not. They don't want you to get
Well,
free land and sit around
and
and
just say I got free
right.
land.
They want you to
Yes,
build. They want you to develop, and that's the
yes.
whole point of it. And the opportunity is wide open. You're talking about some of the fastest growing economies in the
The
world
world,
is in on the
Africa.
continent of
Yep,
Africa.
Africa's
And
wide
as
open.
African Americans, a lot of times
Mhm.
we just miss the boat. I remember giving a speech to some people and telling them about the opportunities, and many of those people were in the position to get them. These are African Americans,
Mhm.
and they just kind of it just kind of went over their head. They couldn't, they were not able to conceive it and connect to it. So hopefully, you know, as you're listening, you realize these opportunities are real. And if you don't take them, then in a few years, when you see other ethnic groups controlling the
Don't be
marketplace
mad.
of
Don't
Africa,
be mad.
you can't really say,
Yeah.
because it doesn't, all the things that we mentioned here as the businesses,
Mm.
they don't take a lot of resources. And you can, and if it does, this is a time where you connect and partner with people and
Yeah.
partner with people in a different country. In Ghana is our one of the main places we go to, but there are a multitude of countries where people want
53
this.
others.
They want you to do it. We talk to a lot of
Right.
dignitaries and people.
Yes.
They want you to come and start your business and bring your ideas there.
Tanzania, Rwanda, uh, I don't know so much Kenya, but yes, these places they want your business. They want to collaborate. So you have to start out by going. You know, that's what I always say. You don't know until you go. I don't know how many people have visited, but you really should visit. And then yes, and you know something, Jay Lovett, the tech world booming, booming, booming. And like Jeff was saying earlier, it's not a lot of say I don't know where if you're in the US, but in the US, we're in California. So you know, we're for business, we're like on a lock. We're like,
Mhm.
it's so hard to set up business because it's all type of restriction. But in Africa, if you have a good idea, few coins in your pocket, and you know how to manage your money, you can blow up. Okay, you can get in there and create something, and people are going to want to partner with you. Okay, you do have to be careful of making business connections anywhere. I can say that because I don't want people saying, "Oh, Yolanda said," because you got to be careful
Everywhere.
everywhere, everywhere with business.
Because there's a lot of people who would just be happy to run off with your money.
Ah,
They would just say,
okay.
they would just
Okay,
enjoy
yeah, yeah.
that.
You're in Philly. Oh, okay. Oh, we love Philly. We love your cheesesteak and all those good.
I'm serious. You bring a
You
Philly cheesesteak right to
can
Africa,
bring it in
you would do
Accra.
well.
Bring it in. Take it to Accra
She can
in
take
Ghana.
she
Wait,
can take it. Okay, she
because let me
go
tell
ahead
you why.
finish.
Because in Accra, that's where they have many like world class restaurants, right? And you have that booming young middle class there. And so if it has something US, they're interested in it. So, it's things like that,
Right, and not
that
just a crowd. It can be in any of the countries. Well,
yeah,
maybe
I'm
there's a
just
few.
saying.
There's a few. I
Right,
don't
right. I'm
know,
just saying
but most of the
Accra,
countries.
Accra,
And
in
well, let me
Ghana.
finish. I I think with something like that, an international type business, you want to start near the airport
Oh, yes.
because that's where you're going to get a lot of international travelers, a lot of people who have an eclectic taste. You're not
Hmm.
going to be able to. You may be able to start that in the village, but I doubt
No,
it.
not in the village. I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
not in the
you
village.
want to
Yeah.
get to an
You have
airport or
to
get to
the city center.
city center,
Yeah, for
something
that.
like that, you offer them something different, and if you say American-made cheesesteak,
oh,
they already know that. Oh, they already primed that it's going to be
right,
better than the
right.
usual.
Yeah.
You know, and I admit to you, I'm not a big fan of being American or European when I go to Africa.
No,
I usually
we
try to eat
don't.
all
We
African,
eat local and
local.
African authentic dishes.
But when
No.
you get to the like near the airports and the metropolis and things like that, real city centers, things like that, you start to see more eclectic
Well,
foods.
we gave them a
So
business. We they don't want a cheesesteak business. They just want business.
no. Well, here's what I'm pointing. It's just an idea. It's just what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's just that a lot of ideas that we walk over and kick out of the way and take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it in the right place, we'll succeed there because
Okay. Okay, we were just and gave you a whole business. Said from Philadelphia, and we're like, oh yeah, Philadelphia, the cheesesteak.
right. But then she gonna do that, and then next thing you know, she gonna be deep in the cash, and I'm gonna be asking for something.
Well, he or she, we don't know, but
or she. I'm sorry,
it doesn't matter. It's all good, good. And you know what? Keep in touch and let us know. And if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and like. And yes, please, and share, because if you're going to be there at the same time, I don't know if you have gone to Ghana before, but if you haven't, we are more than happy to show you around. We completed a tour in January of this year, and that's usually what we do, but we would just love to meet. And then if you're there, then we can, just tell you what we know, because that's what it's all about. Oh, yes. Okay, yes. So let us know. Have you bought your tickets yet? Because that's one thing. We have our tickets from June. So actually we were supposed to start out in Madagascar. And yeah, with the pandemic, that just kind of shut our plans down. We were headed to Madagascar, and then oh, okay, yes, those passports, you guys. Jay Lovett has their passports. So if you don't have your passport, you need to get your passport, because it has been taking a long time for people to get their passports, and that's because of the situation that we're in. At one point, they had stopped processing them. You do not want to be caught up in that situation. Get your passports. But anyways, we were scheduled to go to Madagascar, and okay, you know what? For Ghana, you can get your visa on arrival, but I
wouldn't advise it.
Right? No, I was getting ready to say it. I would get my visa before going. And the reason why Jeff says he wouldn't advise it, and this is going to be for a whole different video, because this is a long story. But get your visa before you leave your destination. It's not because of Ghana. It is true that when you go to Ghana, you can get your visa on arrival. However, we have been traveling. I know one time we were in Uganda, and they would not let us leave because they swore that you have to get that visa. You must buy your visa for Ghana in Uganda, which, by the way, costs more. So
we'll give them the whole story.
Right.
Sometime.
So we'll give it right, because he has to stop, because I'll go on and on for the whole story. But anyways, yeah. So you send to DC or in your area, but I send to Washington DC to get that visa. We have a 5-year visa or 4-year visa. I think it is. I keep saying 5-year. I must want a 5-year visa. Hopefully you'll get a 4-year, and then you'll have it.
It is a 5-year.
Oh, it is a. Oh, you know what I was saying the last time I was saying 10 years. That's what I was saying. Well, I got a 10-year visa. They'll give you a 5-year, and so I would get that before leaving. Now, I think they're good if you're just going from the U.S. to Ghana, get it on arrival. But if you just want, because you're going to have some other things. You know how I did a video on how they're checking how you have to have your COVID testing. Now that may change by December. I'm hoping that it will, and that it won't be such a big thing. But now you have to have your COVID test done 72 hours before you board. Or no, excuse me. You have, yeah, 72 hours, and then you board. You go there, then you have to take another test. For each of your family members, you're going to have to pay $150. Okay, 150 for a rapid COVID test. If it comes back negative, you're fine and you go. If it comes back positive, then you're dealing with their health officials and all of that. So just a heads up, not to spook you. Hopefully, by the time we go, I know. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Five, because that's a that's a lot of coins going there, having to pay that for that test. So yeah, connect. Go ahead and connect. And like I said, even if I head there before you, I'd love to meet you and your family. I'd love to show you what we know, and yeah, because you're going to love it when you go. As you know, I can talk about Ghana all night long for free, but he's not gonna let me, because I told him, please come on and do the business, and then you can look at your game, because he keeps cutting his eye over to the game. So listen, if there are no more questions, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love you. We're thankful for your support. And if you have any further questions, just send us a message, direct message to Instagram or Facebook. I want you, hey, we appreciate you. We just want you to know, be blessed and have a wonderful evening, okay?
And one last thing is to
Yes.
look out for the um, YouTube or live where we're going to go a deep dive into different regions
Oh,
and different
yes. I
countries
forgot to mention
and go more specific on what's trending in different
that.
countries,
Hmm.
and we'll try to get to what's good and what's bad, what you should do and what you should not do.
Hmm.
This is related to business.
Right.
So look out for that.
Right. Okay. So thank you again, okay? Thank you. We love you so much. Have a great evening. Be blessed. Bye until next time.